Tonight on Husky Update, growing concerns at Northeastern. In a Digging Deeper investigation, NUTV's Andrew Longo examines widespread cuts affecting programs, departments, and student organizations across campus. And from Washington, NUTV's Elizabeth Chalmers reports from DC with new developments on NU votes. Plus, how the federal shutdown has affected travel for students at Northeastern. Also tonight, a spotlight on NUTV, Northeastern's Indigenous Student Club, and the Cambridge Half Marathon. The stories that matter most, on campus and beyond. Husky Update starts right now.
Watching it right now. Okay, cool. Good to know.
Good evening, I'm Andrew Longo.
And I'm Richie Kohler.
And welcome to the Husky Update, your source for broadcast coverage here at Northeastern and around the world. Thank you for joining us this evening. We begin tonight with Elizabeth Chalmers, who's reporting live from Washington, D.C. She's following the end of the government shutdown and a cohort of Northeastern students traveling to the Capitol this week through NU votes. Elizabeth?
That's right, Andrew. I'm live tonight at the nation's capital, where just days ago, Congress voted to end the longest government shutdown in our country's history. The budget was signed off by President Trump and is set to keep most federal agencies open until January 30th of next year. The 43-day shutdown highlighted the severity of polarization within our government, but luckily, one group is attempting to combat this polarized climate through nonpartisan civic engagement. I followed NU votes as they attended the SLSV summit just outside DC, where they are hoping to learn the best ways to engage students in voting.
National Student Vote Summit at the University of Maryland. The summit is hosted by the Students Learn, Students Votes Coalition, or SLSV, the, quote, largest nonpartisan network in the United States dedicated to increasing college student voter participation, according to the SLSV website.
We're here to really just interact with other students, national organization leaders, election officials, and just kind of discuss and learn more about civic engagement and really just connect with others and learn new things.
This is Savannah's second time attending the SLSV Summit. And as the NU Votes student coordinator, she hopes to take away some ideas that can be implemented for the organization in the spring semester.
We've really been beginning to gain traction, and to be able to elevate our work and do this on a national level would be super cool. But the three of us, NU Votes representatives, we're really just looking to network, connect with new people, see some familiar faces, and just kind of come back to our own campus feeling really inspired and ready to do more great work.
Alyssa Howe is another representative of the summit for NU Votes, but it's their first time attending. They also hope the takeaways from the summit can be used to inspire civic engagement from Northeastern's international student population.
I'm really looking to find different ways to engage, like historically harder to engage communities civically, especially in the context of Northeastern, thinking of ways that we can work to get international students engaged, even if it's not, registering to vote, thinking past that.
Alyssa will also be giving a poster presentation at the summit explaining how NU Votes and other campus organizations can get more students civically active.
Something that we talked about was how when we talk about historically targeted groups for voter suppression, one of them is youth. The right to vote has been guarded for so long, and many different types of people have fought really hard to get the right to vote, and so I think it is so crucial to make sure we are keeping it accessible and making it even more accessible and getting more people engaged.
In DC, I'm Elizabeth Chalmers, NUTV News.
It's inspiring to see such a turnout of youth from across the nation attempting to inspire others to be more civically active. Hopefully, it's students like these that might help prevent another major shutdown in the Capitol. Hopefully it's students like these that might prevent another major shutdown in the future. Live at the Capitol, I'm Elizabeth Chalmers, NUTV News.
I'm nervous, because am I going to be able to...
From the Capitol, that's a dedicated NUTV reporter right there, so we appreciate that. Also looks like a great opportunity for NU Votes members. Continuing with the coverage of Washington this evening, NUTV's Lawrence Brown shows us how the impacts of the shutdown are lingering.
I'm nervous, Because am I going to be able to go home? Who knows?
I'm a little anxious. I just don't want to get stuck at one of my layover locations.
As air travel attempts to get back on schedule, airports across the country are still a chaotic scene.
Lots of longer lines, lots of flight cancellations. I was in line for like over an hour just to get through security, and I made it to my gate with like 10 minutes before boarding, so it was really stressful.
Some students are now rethinking their travel plans.
I am not going home this Thanksgiving. It just feels a little too complicated to fly home so close to Christmas and with all of the delays that are going on.
Other students will take other forms of transportation like trains and buses to avoid the airport.
I'm going to take Amtrak home. I mean, the train's always packed for Thanksgiving, but maybe a little bit more.
Amtrak has faced its own set of problems in recent months after the rollout of its new Acela next-gen train cars and several cancellations on the Springfield to New Haven line. Though they did not specifically comment on that issue, Amtrak tells NUTV, as air travel becomes less reliable, more riders are choosing the convenience of rail, a trend that began before the government shutdown and any flight cancellations. With strong Thanksgiving demand already picking up, we encourage customers to book early to ensure the best availability. We also reached out to Flixbus, which operates many routes to and from Boston. They tell NUTV, since airline disruptions began earlier this month, we've seen steady growth in demand across our network. In the days ahead, as airlines work to recover before one of the busiest travel periods of the year, we expect that trend to continue, with more travelers turning to intercity bus travel as a convenient, reliable, and affordable way to reach their destinations on time. For those who are flying this Thanksgiving, they are doing so with high hopes.
So I'm keeping track of all my flights, trying to make sure I can come up with alternative plans if something happens, but just keeping my fingers crossed.
As for the air traffic controllers who worked during the shutdown,
kudos to you. We love you.
Yes, we appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a lot of people who are like, I don't know, mad at the situation, but thanks for keeping things going.
Also in Washington this week, the Supreme Court declined to take up a challenge to its 2015 ruling that legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. The decision keeps the landmark ruling in place and avoids a new fight over marriage rights, at least for now. Advocates are calling it a relief, though legal experts say future challenges remain possible.
This week, President Donald Trump was briefed on new military options for potential operations in Venezuela, including possible strikes on land targets. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Joint Chiefs Chair Dan Kane presented a range of scenarios, from limited action to airstrikes on ports, airfields, and military sites. The recent movement of the USS Gerald R. Ford carrier strike group into the southern Caribbean has put U.S. forces in a heightened state of readiness. Officials say no decision has been made, but they confirm the administration is actively reviewing options as tensions continue to rise.
Also this week, President Donald Trump issued full pardons to more than 70 allies who supported efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. The list includes Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, Sidney Powell, and John Eastman. None of the individuals had been federally charged for their actions, but the move immediately sparked national reaction and renewed attention on the roles these figures played in the post-election period. The Justice Department said it was not consulted on the pardons, and legal analysts say the decision leaves open questions about the future accountability and oversight of these people.
This week, the United States announced a proposed tariff package that would nearly double the cost of certain Italian pasta imports. If approved, the plan would combine a new anti-dumping duty with an existing tariff on European goods, bringing the total rate to about 107%. The proposal targets 13 Italian pasta exporters accused of dumping, selling their products in the U.S. at prices lower than in Italy or below cost, putting American producers at a disadvantage. Importers and retailers are already warning that some Italian brands could withdraw from the U.S. market if the tariffs go through, and consumers could see higher prices as early as next year.
Noticeable funding shifts have occurred behind the scenes here at Northeastern this fall, with little explanation behind them. I spoke with the professors and students being impacted in this week's Digging Deeper investigation. This fall, NUTV has reported on isolated incidents of Northeastern programs facing a reduction in funding or even cancellation. But further investigation has made it clear that funding changes at the university are actually widespread, impacting several aspects of campus life.
had gone through the phase 1 proposal for the 2026 cycle, and then we got the news about the pause on the programs right before phase 2 was completed.
The second week of September, Northeastern French assisting teaching professor Austin Hancock got an email saying his culture dialogue in the south of France would not go forward.
It was difficult to, I guess, be the first one to have to tell them that, no, there are no foreign language dialogues this year, and they were like, what?
Some students relying on these programs to graduate.
For French and for Spanish, we have students that were counting on, being able to take a dialogue in order to fit in a minor or possibly even complete a major.
Now, if they want to go abroad this summer, language and culture students will have to outsource their experience.
How surprising it is to have to have study abroad experiences and not have foreign language study abroad experiences, because usually those things go kind of hand in hand.
Compared to the 83 offered last year, only 60 dialogues are posted on the GEO website for next summer. But it doesn't stop there. I've spoken with several anonymous professors who have told me that their department's operating budgets have been cut by around 60 to 80%, one referring to the cuts as, quote, draconian. Student organizations have also seen a shift, with an NUTV news poll from this week finding that around 64% of responding clubs saw a decrease in funding this year over last. Around 77% of them reporting a loss of 30% or more of their budget. It is likely that club funding has not decreased, but rather been distributed differently by the SGA Student Organizational Finance Board, who declined to comment. And while these changes in funding coincide with several expensive projects here at Northeastern, including the acquisition of a new campus in New York, the demolition of Matthews Arena, and threats to higher education funding by the Trump administration, the university has given no official reasoning behind the changes, even to faculty. At Northeastern, Andrew Longo, NUTV News. If you have something you want us to investigate, you can email the Digging Deeper team at northeasterntv@gmail.com.
It's a great investigation, Andrew. It's a busy upcoming week in Northeastern sports. NUTV's Cassandra Joyce is live in studio with your full sports report.
Men's and women's cross country competed at the NCAA Northeast Regional earlier today. The top finisher on the women's side was sophomore Emily Wickard, who placed 111th with a time of 21 minutes and 42 seconds. And on the men's side, sophomore Nico Boyle placed 35th with a time of 30 minutes and 22 seconds. Also earlier today, the volleyball team lost in a hard-fought matchup against the Hofstra Pride in 4 sets and have its last game of the season tomorrow at 3 p.m. Women's basketball suffered a demoralizing defeat against BU on Tuesday. The Huskies led by 11 going into the fourth quarter before falling 61-57. The same night, men's basketball dominated the Harvard Crimson 77-60. For homecoming last weekend, both the men's and women's hockey teams swept their weekend games over Stonehill and Vermont respectively. Men's junior goalie Lawton Zacher was named National Goalie of the Month and has notched 239 saves. Finally, the swim and dive team fell to UConn November 8th, 180-120, and field hockey and men's soccer ended their seasons with losses to Drexel and Stony Brook, respectively. Be sure to keep an eye out for the Huskies' home competitions this week. Men's hockey plays tomorrow night against UConn at 7:30, volleyball has its matchup at 1, and men's basketball plays its final game at Matthews tomorrow at 1 p.m. Off campus, the 8th annual Cambridge Half Marathon occurred November 1st. I checked it out for NUTV Sports.
We're here today at the Cambridge Half Marathon with over 11,000 participants.
The event is hosted by Cambridge Side, a mall in Cambridge that places a large focus on community-based events. NUTV spoke with Cambridge Side's Regional Marketing Director, Melissa Levita, about the planning of the event.
So we've done 5K races, 10K races in the past, but the half marathon was a great opportunity to add another fitness event to our roster, but even more importantly, it raises so much money for charity. So over the past 7 years, we've raised over $1 million.
That $1 million has gone towards a variety of charities in the community, including the City of Cambridge Scholarship Fund, Cambridge Camping, and more. Other than just the money, the event builds a sense of community from the uniting of runners and spectators because of the race.
I think there's such a great sense of camaraderie at the finish line. There's such great energy. I think everyone gets really excited. It's a beautiful course. You're running along Memorial Drive. People are cheering you on. There's signs. You run through Harvard Stadium. So it's just such a unique and, course.
This year, Cambridge Side added a new aspect of the race weekend called the Challenge, where runners can run a 5K on Saturday and follow it up with the half on Sunday.
I think the strategy was to have our half marathon sells out. Last year we sold out at 10,000. This year we sold out at 11,000. So it's obviously a lot of people, and to do the two races on the same day is just, I think logistically a lot. So to have it on the Saturday, you have people that are coming to town. They can come and run or watch the race on Sunday, and then the half takes place on Sunday. So it's really just like a full weekend of events.
On top of that already full weekend of events, it was also Hollow Weekend, leading runners to come out and compete wearing costumes from Pickles to the Red Line. More than anything, the half was an inspiring showing of people pushing themselves to their limits and the power of community.
From Cambridge, Cassandra Joyce, NUTV Sports.
And if you have a chance, make sure you check out the final men's basketball game to be played at Matthews Arena tomorrow night. Now, for tonight's Pop Culture Rundown, NUTV's Paige Williams joins us live in studio. Paige?
Thank you, Andrew. There's been a lot going on this week. Let's pop into the Pop Culture Rundown. Sean Combs could see his 4-year prison sentence shortened after being accepted into a federal rehabilitation program, according to the New York Times reporting. At the 2025 Latin Grammys, Bad Bunny took home Album of the Year, capping off what organizers called one of the most electric nights in the show's history. The Oscars made news as well. The Academy sent a reminder to all voters that they must confirm they've watched every nominated film in a category before casting ballots, aiming to improve fairness in the voting process. In food news, Doritos and Cheetos announced new NKD options that remove artificial flavors and colors, marking a shift in how major snack brands are responding to health-conscious consumers. On the entertainment side, Andy Richter was unfortunately eliminated from Dancing with the Stars in this week's quarterfinals, a surprise for the longtime fandies from the season. And here at Northeastern, Flo Milli packed the Matthews Arena for a high-energy homecoming performance that drew one of the largest turnouts for the fall semester. And finally, in global entertainment news, a man who rushed Ariana Grande at the Wicked for Good premiere in Singapore has been formally charged with public nuisance after the incident went viral. That's this week's Pop Culture Rundown. Thank you. Back to Andrew and Richie.
On November 5th, Kazakhstan announced that it intends to join the Abraham Accords, a package of agreements signed by original signatories in 2020 to increase cooperation with Israel. Kazakhstan has had diplomatic relations with Israel since 1992 and is much farther from the country compared to other signatories such as Morocco, Sudan, and the United Arab Emirates. Specific areas of focus would be increasing cooperation in defense, cybersecurity, and energy and food technology.
A new club is gathering attention on campus that gives Indigenous people at Northeastern a chance to connect on a professional and personal level. Native is in this week's Club Spotlight.
Hi, my name is Avery.
Hi, my name's Tamron.
And we are two of the co-founders of Native, which is Northeastern's Native American and Indigenous Student Association. Native stands for Native American, Tribal, and Indigenous Visibility in Education. I think both Tamron and I came from high schools where we were surrounded by other Indigenous students, and so obviously coming to Northeastern, we looked for a community like that where we could receive support and I guess have community with other Indigenous students and staff.
Yeah, to add on to that, I also came from, as Avery mentioned, a primarily Native community for a high school, and so not having that or being distant from that was just very strange, and so just being able to interact with like Native students and also have a Native community is just really needed, so just saw the reason as to why to have one.
I think one of the main things we've been doing is hosting events and club meetings where students can talk to Native faculty. We've had a few professors come in to chat with students on what their
life looks like as not only a Native professional, but also as just a Native person, and being able to hear from professors who have experience with their Native identity in their professional life.
We've also been having mixers and also collabs with other Native organizations in the greater Boston area, such as Tufts and one upcoming for Harvard especially. So it's just great to know that there's not just Indigenous students here on campus, but also at different institutions.
We did a potluck, and I think that was probably one of our most successful events aside from our first meeting.
It's great to see like different types of dishes, cuisine from different Indigenous cultures, and also just to, for me, it was great just to make a cultural dish that I hadn't made in a long time. The main challenge was just basically trying to assemble the team, and Avery finally reached out to me and another student, Jesse as well, and so just like trying to get a team to like start the initiative was a long process, and we're still going through that.
Yeah, it's definitely been a long process. We've been working on this since March or April of last academic year, so it's been quite a few months. We're super grateful to NUTV for showcasing us. We've also had help from Quarry College, the honors program, Husky Student Life, and so yeah, we're really grateful for all the organizations at Northeastern that have supported us.
Now for some fun news. This week, New England skies were lit up by a rare aurora borealis with green and purple lights visible across the region, including right here on campus. Some students were able to capture the display from around Northeastern as a strong geomagnetic storm pushed the aurora farther south than usual. And here is one image shared from Northeastern social media. It's a truly striking sight. I didn't get to see it, Andrew, but
yeah, it's a rare treat for us here in Boston.
Truly,
we don't get it too often.
Exactly. I heard that's a New England thing. I never have really heard of this. You know, I'm from Pennsylvania, back home, but I would have loved to see it.
A couple times a year if we're lucky.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, then I've still got
You'll get
shot.
the next one.
I hope so. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's the news. The rest is up to you. Be sure to follow our Instagram page and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date with us. You can find tonight's story in full at northeasterntv.com/news. I'm Andrew Longo.
And I'm Richie Kohler. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again for a special Thursday evening edition of the Husky Update on December 4th. Have a great night.
We'll see you then.